Today we're going to talk about if you'll ever hear from your ex again after your breakup. And if you stick around to the end of this video, we're not going to only show you the factors that make an ex more likely to reach out to you, but we're actually going to tell you an exact timeline of when you can expect an ex to reach out to you after a breakup. Now, I do want to say that if you're just getting started and you're trying to determine if you want to get your ex back or you simply want to move on from your ex, the best place that you can determine an answer to that question is to hop by our website, www.exboyfriendrecovery.com, and take our Ex Recovery Chances quiz. It's a simple 2-minute quiz designed to tell you what kind of chance you have of getting your ex back so you know if you're wasting your time or not. Now, if this sounds like something you'd be interested in, simply look in the description link of this YouTube video and click on the link you see there. It will take you directly to the quiz where you can begin and take it. Okay, now let's talk about if you'll ever hear from your ex again after a breakup. So in my opinion, the best way to tackle this question is with statistics, specifically looking at how often exes reach out to you after a breakup. Now, here's the thing. No one has ever done a legitimate study on this topic until now. I've actually surveyed my private Facebook support group of over 3,000 women to get a wide variety of answers on how long it took them to get their exes to reach out to them and if their exes reached out to them first at all. The findings were actually quite interesting, but before I get to that, I want to show you some of the basic statistics on getting exes back. So the very best way to get an answer to the question of if an ex will ever reach out to you after a breakup is by looking at specific studies done by well-known reputable resources that kind of determine how likely an ex is still to be into you. Luckily, there have been many of those over the years. 2 specifically that I'm going to hone in on for this particular part of the video. The first one is by the Associated Press, who ran a poll in the 2014 year about exes. And the second one is actually run by a graduate student in graduate school for a graduate program. Let's tackle that graduate student specific poll first. So this particular poll was run by Veronica Lucas, who was a graduate student who surveyed her classmates who had been through breakups. She asked them one singular question: how often do you Facebook stalk your ex? Interestingly enough, 88% of individuals admitted to Facebook stalking their ex. So right there, that tells us that the intent to talk to their ex is there. They're just kind of too cowardly to come forward. Now, you'll often hear me talk about that specific study a lot throughout the YouTube channel, the website, and even in our private Facebook group. And I'm doing it to show you how important it is to kind of do your social media game. But that's not the only interesting study. So in 2014, the Associated Press ran a study on exes before a big television show on exes was about to air. The study had over 1,200 individuals that basically showed up to it to answer their questions, and we learned some very fascinating things about breakups. When asked how difficult people usually found it to get over an ex, over half of respondents of the study who took this poll responded with answers of moderately to extremely difficult. In addition, 51% of people say that they've attempted to stay friends with an ex after a breakup, and 32% admitted that feelings for an ex prevented them from finding a new romantic relationship, while a total of 41% admitted that yes, they've gotten back together with an ex after a breakup before. So what is the purpose of me showing you these particular studies? Well, more than anything, I'm trying to show you that the intent is there. It is highly likely that you will hear from your ex after a breakup. But the question is, do you need to reach out to them first to start a conversation, or will they reach out to you first to start a conversation? So that's where I got kind of interested in the actual question of how often do exes actually reach out first, and how long does it take them to reach out first? This is where my private Facebook group of over 3,000 women going through breakups and trying to get their exes back came in handy. So in all, when I polled the group, only 55 women admitted to the poll, basically. And I got a really interesting wide variety of answers at how long it took their exes to reach out to them first. So overall, what was fascinating is the fastest amount of time that it took an ex to actually reach out first without being prompted was 8 days. The highest or longest amount of time that it took an ex to reach back out after a breakup, according to our group, was 75 days. But when you averaged all 55 people's answers together, we got a grand total of about 38 days before an ex could reach out to you without being prompted. So right here, this specific study tells us a lot about the mental state of exes after a breakup. First off, the low, the 8 days. So on average, the lowest it took an ex to reach out being unprompted by a text from you or something was 8 days. That means at a bare minimum, your ex is going to have a week's worth of time away from you to feel comfortable enough to reach out to you. Now, I will say there's only 55 people who actually entered into this study. So if we had 15,000 people, the answer might be a little bit different. But from these 55 people, guess what? Only 8 days it took for the lowest or quickest amount of time for an ex to reach out. Another thing that this study taught us was that at a maximum, it took 75 days for an ex to reach out being unprompted. So that's a pretty wide variety there, which leads us to the next question I would like to ask. What's more important, waiting for your ex to reach out to you or you reaching out to your ex first? In my opinion, this is where my male clients have a clear advantage over my female clients. Society depicts the fact that men are supposed to be the ones that start conversations with women. It's kind of a taboo for a woman to start a conversation with a man. But what if I told you that we've been finding success with women reaching out first? You see, what matters more in the end is not who starts the conversation, but who ends the conversation. This piggybacks off of this psychological concept called the Zeigarnik effect, which basically states that people remember interrupted or incomplete tasks better than completed ones. What often happens when you actually get into a conversation with your ex? Often, if you want them back, you're just so excited to be talking to them for the first time in forever that you tend to overstay your welcome. Whereas we try to teach our clients not to overstay their welcome, but actually end conversations when it's at the most exciting and intriguing part so that your ex has another reason to reach out to you later. We've been finding so much success with this that we've actually, for women specifically, have been able to push aside that stereotype of, oh yes, a man needs to reach out first. It's almost 2020 now, guys. It's okay for you guys to reach out first as long as you're ending the conversations first. Hey, thank you so much for getting to the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Again, if you're interested in taking our Ex Recovery Chances quiz, all you're gonna have to do is simply look in the description link below this YouTube video and click on it. It's really that simple. Also, if you haven't already, don't be afraid to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel. Please.